but you feel it. You felt it your entire life. That there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there. You can feel it.
Get a bone out the bed and start to move your balls. Sick up a word in Solomon Jones. Word. You better wake up now.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD, and I want to welcome you to another edition of Wake Up with Word. So I see we've got some sad news about one of our listeners, that Brother Donald out of Francisville, the brother who used to always call and say Jumbo Jumbo, passed away. And, of course, our prayers are with him and his family, of course, and we will miss him. We will miss his calls and his insight and his presence here at WURD. So, Brother Donald, rest in peace. So, also want to talk about what is happening on the political front, because as I'm watching this, I'm tripping. Because on the heels of throwing shade at Donald Trump on 60 Minutes, Barack Obama has come out swinging at his political nemesis in yet another interview, this time in The Atlantic. Obama told the magazine he's not surprised that Donald Trump was able to get traction in American politics, but he's shocked that Trump became a symbol of right-wing populism. He's a symptom as much as an accelerant, Obama said. But if we were going to have a right-wing populist in this country, I would have expected somebody a little more appealing. Obama explains that he understands the desire for the classic male hero, the John Waynes, the Gary Coopers, the Jimmy Stewarts, the Clint Eastwoods. He said there was a code that a man is true to his word, that he takes responsibility, that he doesn't complain, that he isn't a bully. In fact, he defends the vulnerable against bullies. And then came the shade. Obama compared Trump to a fictional character in a 1950s comic book. Maybe you heard of him. He later became a cartoon. I thought that the model for conservatives would not be Richie Rich, Obama said. The complaining, lying, doesn't take responsibility for anything type of figure. And yet, here we are, with Richie Rich in the White House, refusing to leave, ignoring a pandemic, and trying to figure out how he can use the military to create a crisis for the guy who beat him like a drum. Thank God there's still Obama to explain it all. He makes us realize that sanity still exists. We got a hot show for you today on Wake Up with Word. Dr. Elena McDonald and Dr. Delana Wardlaw have the latest on coronavirus. City Councilwoman Maria Quinona Sanchez on the city's $10 million partnership to end poverty. CNN commentator Roxanne Jones on the final days of Trump's presidency. And Akbar Hassan and Clyde Russell of Man Up PHL on tonight's mentoring session, Achieving Financial Goals. And as always, we've got you, our listeners, calling in at 215-634-8065 or toll free 1-866-361-0900. Hit us on Twitter and Instagram at onWURD, or you can hit me personally at Solomon Jones 1. Watch us on Facebook at FullWord. But first, it's the big three, the news stories you need to know to kick off your day right here on Wake Up with Word. Story number one. First, he fired the Secretary of Defense and replaced top military aides with yes men. Then he revealed that he plans to rapidly move American troops from Iraq and Afghanistan as soon as this week, a move even Mitch McConnell says would be disastrous. Now we learned that last week, Trump asked aides what his options were for launching an attack against Iran's nuclear facilities. That's right. The New York Times reports that President Donald Trump last week asked senior aides what possibilities he had for an offensive strike in Iran's primary nuclear site. Trump's question in an Oval Office meeting came on the heels of a report from the International Atomic Energy Agency saying that Iran's stockpiles of uranium had reached 12 times the limit set in the nuclear deal Iran signed with the U.S. and 5 other nations in 2015. Trump took the U.S. out of the deal in 2018. Trump asked his highest-ranking national security advisors what possible responses were available to him and how best to respond to Iran, officials told the Times. Vice President Pence, Secretary of State Pompeo, Acting Defense Secretary Chris Miller, and Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Mark Milley, all told him, no, what are you talking about? You're getting ready to start a war. And still, officials told the paper that Trump could be continuing to eye plans to attack Iranian allies and assets such as militias in Iraq. So he's trying to burn down the whole world going out the door. And Iran would still be in a nuclear deal if it wasn't for him. It's your fault, dude. It's your fault that they building more stuff. It's your fault that they got more uranium. It's your fault that they say you out the deal. All right, we out the deal too. Look, please get them out. Kuwaisa, can you just go down there and just like make them leave?
I wish I could. I wish I could. Yo, this man is a lunatic. He really is. Like, I don't think, not just me, I don't think anyone has ever seen such lengths of lunacy that running our country. Never in my lifetime, and never in most people's lifetime have we seen this, right?
Nope.
And so the fact of the matter is that, you know, I don't want to be that person who's on this mic, you know, getting people freaked out. I'm nervous because I'm like, yo, he got the nuclear codes. Like, he has all these things at his fingertips that he could easily, you know, get us in danger with. And so I'm ready for him to get out of office. I need for him to I need him to go. It's time. And what are the contingency plans? Like, what can we get him out before he's like up to be out of the office? Like, how do we do that? What if the man starts losing his marbles before he's supposed to be out of office? Like, what happens?
Yeah, this is unprecedented. So we're in brand new territory. You know, there's the 25th Amendment where the cabinet could vote to remove him, but that's not going to happen. You know, there could be congressional action. I don't think that's going to happen because the Republicans run the Senate. I just think that we have to have some sane people in the room. And thank God when he was talking about Iran, you had some sane people in the room. You know what I mean? So, you know, somebody grab his hand. Don't touch that button, man. I'm break your arm. You know what I mean? Like, something gotta give. So we'll see what happens. But this is unprecedented. We've never seen anything like this before, which brings me to story number 2. With well over 11 million Americans infected with coronavirus, there's good news and bad news about the pandemic. First, the good news. Biotech firm Moderna announced yesterday that its coronavirus vaccine is nearly 95% effective at preventing illness, including severe cases, news that raised the prospect that the U.S. could have 2 coronavirus vaccines. Remember, Pfizer's got one too, and they could have them available on a limited basis by the end of the year. Unfortunately, new cases of the virus continue to spike, which brings me to the bad news. The lockdowns are back. Philadelphia announced new coronavirus restrictions yesterday that aim to combat a lack of mask wearing and social distancing indoors at public spaces, restaurants, gyms, and even inside private homes. The restrictions roll the city back to prohibitions that were in place during the spring COVID-19 surge. Under the restrictions, which go into effect on Friday, indoor parties and dinings will be out. Fitness centers, museums, and libraries will be closed, and eating and drinking will not be allowed at outdoor gatherings. Takeout, delivery, and outdoor dining, with some limitations, are allowed to continue operating. Hair salons and barbers will be allowed to continue operating with the current restrictions in place. Other restrictions include retail stores can operate, but only at limited occupancy. Youth sports will cease to play. Religious institutions can operate, but with reduced occupancy. Online-only schooling for colleges and high schools. But on the bright side, Koisa, the Eagles won't allow fans in the stands, which honestly is probably for the best. What are you thinking?
Yeah, that's definitely for the best. Nobody's trying to watch them funk up the joint. I said it yesterday. So, you know, that's a good one. But, you know, I think that really we saw this coming. You know, the virus has gotten out of control once again. I don't even think we really ever had control of it. And so, you know, I'm glad that they're putting those restrictions in place. I'm sad that it's going to be, you know, through, you know, the beginning of January. But we have to do this so that we can make it into next year. We really have to do these things. And so we'll just see what happens from here.
Mm-hmm. And that brings me to story number 3. Of course, the election's still going on. There is some chicanery going on in Georgia. They're trying to pressure the Republican Secretary of State there who runs the elections to somehow cheat. Lindsey Graham and others pressuring him, getting calls at his home, death threats, all kinds of stuff. And, you know, the votes are the votes. Trump is losing. Now, they found 2,600 votes down there. Somebody apparently messed up. But, you know, again, Some of those votes for Trump, some of those votes for Biden, probably most of them for Biden. So that's not going to make a difference. Biden's still up by about 14,000 votes in Georgia. But on the national stage with Trump's campaign, after learning that his lawyers were going to drop some lawsuits challenging election results, Donald Trump called an Oval Office huddle and chaos ensued. At one point, Rudy Giuliani, who was patched in on speakerphone, called the Trump campaign lawyers liars for telling the president his odds of changing the outcome of election were slim. In turn, Justin Clark, the president's deputy campaign manager, called Giuliani an expletive. All of this first reported in the New York Times and then on CNN. Soon after the dust-up, Trump tapped Giuliani to spearhead what Trump is calling the legal effort to defend our right to free and fair elections. Trump went on to issue tweet after tweet using lies to question the election results and quickly reverse what it seemed like an inadvertent nod to Biden's victory. I can see nothing, he blared on Sunday in all caps in his crazy way. Trump's refusal to concede has had widespread consequences, from his successor's inability to access federal money to the spread of new conspiracy theories among his hardcore supporters. But it's had another effect. It's allowed the Republican Party to raise money, right? And so Trump examining his post-presidency prospects, those have become clearer, including the potential for launching a new media venture or the immediate announcement of a 2024 bid, both of which he's discussed in private over the past week. So I want to know what you guys think. What should Donald Trump do after the elections? I want to hear your funny suggestions, your crazy suggestions, your real suggestions, because he's trying to think now of what his post-election prospects are. What do you think Trump should do post-election? I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD. What are your suggestions? What should Donald Trump do post-election? Give us a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. I'm taking your real suggestions. I'm taking your funny suggestions. I'm taking your crazy suggestions for a crazy man. What should he do post-election? We're also, of course, talking about the coronavirus lockdowns that are going on in the city of Philadelphia. What is that going to mean for us? I want to know what you think. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. What should Donald Trump do post-election? Let's go to Malik from Mount Airy on line one. Go ahead, Malik.
Good morning, Word family. I want to say good morning to my queen. She's getting ready for work.
Oh.
But I think 45 should save as much money as he can, because he's going to have some legal charges that he got to face. He probably has some jail time. He might probably want to shift some money in his businesses that he's not paying people in to, I don't know, pay for the lawyers he's going to have to pay for once he can't use the U.S. government and tax dollars to pay for his lawyers. Yeah, he might want to start planning, let's say future planning, like orange, because he already orange, can get an orange suit to kind of match his skin. What you think?
I hear you, man. That sounds good to me. 215. Thanks, Malik. 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. So Donald Trump thinking about his post-election prospects. What should he do? What should be his new career after he leaves the White House on January 20th? I want to know what you think. 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD. Bahia from West Philly is on line too. Go ahead, Bahia.
Good morning. Good morning, Solomon. Good morning, Kwesa.
Good morning.
New York told me to send them the signal. New York, it's time. It's time, New York.
Take him back? New York got to take him back? Is that what it is?
Yeah, no, I'm talking about the district attorney in New York.
The jail signal.
He's waiting. He's waiting for him. He is waiting. That's his prospect right there.
I hear you. Jail.
I'm giving a shout out. And get Lindsey Graham, too, for trying to steal those votes in Georgia.
I know.
I know.
It is unreal.
They're waiting for you.
All right, bye. I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WRD. And here's the funny thing. The Attorney General in New York is a sister named Letitia James. Letitia is waiting, Donald. She's waiting. You guys have an appointment, right, after you are out of office. I want to hear from you. Give us a call, 215-634-8065. Let's go to Mary from Olney on line 3. Go ahead, Mary.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I'm okay.
Good.
I think he should just take his family, let him get their Obama phones, he go and take his medicine. Goodbye.
Finally, because he ain't been taking it this whole 4 years.
Yes.
I hear you. I hear you, Mary. I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD Radio. What should Donald Trump do post-election? What should he do once he is out of office? I need some suggestions because he's going to need a job, right? So I need to know what you guys think. Give us a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. Olanian from Nicetown is on line 1. Go ahead, Olanian.
Good morning. How you doing?
I'm good. Good. How are you?
I definitely want him to stay away, disappear, go to Mars. But I believe that he, in his timetable, is planning on running again. Don't be surprised if he pops up out of the cereal box again. All right,
All right, man. Thanks, Olanian. I appreciate your call this morning on WRD. Kawesa, have you thought about this? What should he do? What would you like to see him do?
Honestly, I would like to see him take several seats and maybe take a nap while he's at it, too. I find that when I'm on the verge of an adult temper tantrum, naps make me feel a lot better when I wake up. And so, maybe just take an extended nap and, hibernate. We don't want to see you at all, so just, go away. That's all I want him to do. That's really what I want him to do. Also, while he's at it, take that prison term, too, because I think that he's guilty of a lot of things. So
yeah, I think so too. He's talking about preemptively pardoning himself. Now, that's the crazy. Like who would even ask that? Can I pardon myself? Who would ask that question? Dude, you're insane. We're gonna go to break. On the other side, we are going to continue the show right here on WURD. We are being an employment agency today and trying to figure out a new job for Donald Trump after he is out of office. I'm Solomon Jones. This is WURD. We'll be right back.
Did you know you can catch the flu and COVID-19 at the same time or even back-to-back? Don't risk catching the flu during the COVID-19 pandemic. The flu shot is a safe and effective way of reducing your chances of catching the flu or spreading it to others. And the flu shot helps protect you and your community from the worst effects of the flu. Don't say, I should have got my flu shot. Call your doctor or visit your pharmacist and get your flu shot today.
WURD Radio presents the following wellness tip to support our listeners with mindfulness and motivation.
So, in fact, allowing peacefulness to be at the center of our daily interactions is something we can practice every day. Go ahead and try it today. Stay well with WURD. Happy living.
Stay well with WURD. Connect with us at wordradio.com.
He's back.
This is Reverend Al Sharpton.
Keeping it real with the Reverend Al Sharpton.
In times like these, we have to stay connected.
At a brand new time.
Monday through Thursday, 9 p.m. till midnight.
I'm excited that Keeping It Real returns to WURD.
Keeping it real.
With the Reverend Al Sharpton.
Monday through Thursday, 9 p.m. till midnight.
This program is pre-recorded.
No phone calls, please.
Keep it locked to WURD 96.1 FM, 900 AM. WURDradio.com.
Did you know millennials make up the largest share of the U.S. population? They are known for being tech-savvy, practicing mindfulness, and being socially and ethically conscious. But they are also on track to be in worse health than previous generations. Pitch your best ideas, Philly. You have the power to help shape how we address millennial health and mental health challenges in our beloved city. We'll connect you with our mentors and get you ready for a pitch competition with our judges. Visit economyleague.org/wellcity.
Now, a traffic update
on WURD Radio.
Good morning. This report sponsored by CVS. 95 southbound getting heavy. Cottman down through Bridge. through construction again. Betsy Ross through Girard, a busy ride there. Northbound 95 moving fine. Looking at the Vine Expressway westbound, that's getting busy. 8th out through Broad. Again from the Parkway through the Schuylkill Expressway. Schuylkill eastbound Montgomery through Girard, busy westbound side. That's a heavy ride now. University through the Vine Expressway. Again, City out to Belmont, a bit slow. Turnpike and the Blue Route still in pretty good shape there this morning. Looking at 55 northbound. That is jammed now from Deptford into 42. CVS pharmacists have a proprietary search tool that analyzes ways to help lower your prescription costs. Come in or call today to get a free prescription savings review at CVS. Savings vary. Not all patients eligible for savings. Ask pharmacists for details. For more traffic information, log on to sigalert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones.
Good morning.
Right now on Word Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD. And I want to welcome you back to Wake Up with Word. So a lot going on, man, on the national stage, on the local stage as well. We've got 11 million, well over 11 million, actually, cases of coronavirus in the United States, over 250,000 deaths in the United States. And this virus, of course, is spiking again, as we expected in the fall. This is the time of year when these types of viruses spread. And so we've got a new vaccine, which is experimental at this point, but tests show that it's about 95% effective. That one is from Moderna. There's another one that's about 90% effective. That is from Pfizer. We could see both of them on a limited basis by the end of the year. Now, when everybody will get them, well, it kind of depends on the Trump and Biden administrations working together on a transition. But Donald Trump trying to block the transition at this point, which is crazy, because what Joe Biden said when they asked him about it, they said, well, what could happen, you know, on the coronavirus front if you guys do not work together on a transition plan? He just said very simply, more people could die. And so let me get this straight. You willing to put Americans' lives on the line because you a sore loser? You willing to watch more people die because you're in denial? You're willing to watch more people die because you crazy, right? And so we're watching this whole thing play out, and the craziest thing about it, the saddest thing about it, and the thing that makes me angriest about it is that you've got Republicans who got good sense. Y'all understand how the system works. You understand how elections work. You know doggone well that Donald Trump not only lost, but lost decisively, lost badly. And rather than go up to Capitol Hill, like Republicans did in 1972 when they told Richard Nixon, look, it's time, you got to resign, man. You got to resign. Rather than do that, you're encouraging this craziness. Rather than do what's right, you're encouraging this nonsense. And I mean it when I say this, man. Take off those stupid flag pins because you don't care about America. You don't care about your own folk. Not only do you not care about the people who didn't support you, you don't care about the people who did, because if you did, you would recognize that this is not a political circumstance. This is a life or death issue, where more people could die simply because you stood there and didn't say anything while a crazy man took your party hostage. It's ridiculous. And that's what I'm saying. So I want to know, because on January 20, one way or the other, you got to get out. You got to go. You know what I mean? We got to drag you out. We got to kick you out. If we got to pull you out, you got to go, right? He knows that, right? So January 20th, what should his new job be? I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD. The other thing you should understand is this, that beyond the crazy, there is a strategy to this, right? Some Republicans are looking at the president's attempt at contesting the election as a way for him to continue stoking his supporters and holding sway over a fiercely loyal and reliable block of voters, whether he decides to run for president again in 4 years or not. So if he maintains this lie that the election was stolen from him, he can continue to hold power over the party that a losing candidate, or at least a candidate who admitted losing, could not. And so it's about power. It's about holding on to power. No, I didn't really lose. Like, you can tell these conspiracy theory people that I didn't really lose. It was stolen from me. No, ignore those 5.5 million votes over there. Ignore what the man behind the curtain is doing. You know, it's like the Wizard of Oz. Like, what in the world are we seeing? And so nobody could do this by themselves. It takes millions of people supporting it. It takes the leadership of the party remaining silent. It takes craziness on all levels in order for this to take place. And that's what we're seeing. I want to hear from you. What should Donald Trump do when he leaves office? What should his new job be? Give us a call, 215-634-8065. Joyce from Winfield is on line 2. Go ahead, Joyce.
Hey, I think he needs to go into rapping, okay? Go on tour with those other rappers, those Little Waynes and those the other two, Ice Cube and all, who all those do for him.
50 Cent. Don't forget 50 Cent.
50 Cent for sure. And go on tour, start in Alaska, and hit all the way it takes. Okay, buddy? Okay? Somebody needs to go in there and pull him by that red tire head and drag him out.
Yep.
Okay? Okay, and if he wants to come back on 2024, he can do that. Okay? And Philly, for sure, like the good fight, and we will be here for him and get him out again.
I know that's right. I know that's right. You know what's interesting, and thank you, Joyce, for your call. I'm getting calls and emails and texts from people all over the country saying, thank you, Philadelphia, for getting him out. You know what I mean? Because bottom line is this, right? He won, Biden won Philadelphia by well over 400,000 votes, approaching 500,000 votes as the votes continue to be counted, right? And Philadelphia won him Pennsylvania. Without Pennsylvania, Donald Trump had no path to the White House. And I said this, you know, I've been saying this for over a year, that that Philadelphia, and specifically African Americans in Philadelphia, would have to be the key to Joe Biden winning a victory in the presidential race, and it turned out that way. So let's go to Justin from West Philly on line 1. Go ahead, Justin.
Hey, good morning, Solomon.
Good morning.
And the interesting thing you said about the reason why Trump's scared to get out, because they're going to say commissary up. He's scamming the country, basically, because he knows what black folks face in the course of their lifetime. He don't understand that. He feels as though he can stay in there till whenever. But it's not the time right now. They got to get him out. And then the federal government and all that know that when they said commissary up, when they take you out of there, that's what's going to be happening. So he knows that he's in there trying to scam the country. He's still scamming. He ain't doing nothing. With his job, when he leaves, he's going to be out there scamming, hold up some kind of ordeals that people think he gets sucked in. They get sucked in, but it's going to be happening like that. I see it. He don't have no job. He's going to just try to wig his way into stealing money like he's been doing.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's a shame, but I give grace above our people in Philadelphia. They gave that, you know, them votes in. You know, we needed it. We needed it, and we got him out. Thank you.
I know that's right. Justice said they're going to be like commissary up. They're going to have him out in the yard. 215-634-8065. That sister up in New York is not playing. The attorney general got charges They got charges, at the state level, so you can't pardon that as the president. So he's going to have some splaining to do. He's going to have some lawyers to pay. You better save that money. Stop challenging these court cases and get your money ready for those criminal cases. Let's go to Missy from North Philly on line 2. Go ahead, Missy.
Good morning, Solomon.
Good morning.
And Kuwesa. I am saying that he should be put in a straight jacket, then put in the side room. Hello?
Oh, okay, I hear you. I thought you had more. That's it?
No, no more.
All right, I want to thank you, Missy, for getting straight to the point. Let's go to Kenneth from Delaware County on line 1. Go ahead, Kenneth.
Yeah, what he should do in all those states that were red and all the people that voted for him, he should open up a circus called the Jackass Circus and just let all his people come free. Thank you much.
I want to thank you for your call this morning on WURD Radio. That is the number. You can call 215-634-8065. I know they got shade on Facebook, Kuwait. So what are they saying this morning on Facebook?
So we actually do have quite a few comments on here, so let me go ahead and pull those up right now. We have Lisa Gothney. Republicans don't care about anyone, or they would have passed the HEROES Act back in May. 45's next job should be mopping floors in prison. So that's one comment that's there. Zen Motley says Trump's new job, prisoner number 45. That's another comment that we have here. And then Ozias Johnson says, good morning, Vietnam. Yo, 45, when you are finally done playing president, get at me, man. Me, you, and Kanye West going to form a rap group, the Incorrigibles. You're going to have to rock a baldy and a goatee, though. So that's another comment that we have there. And then Kenrick Talbot says, good Tuesday morning, Word family, missed you, Kuwesa. Shout out to Cheryl Brown. And then Kia Fisher Copeland says, this should be no surprise. He wanted the title. He didn't want to do the actual job of president. And so that's another comment that we have here as well. Craig Williams, the Donald should go to prison, preferably Rikers. So that's another comment that we have as well. And lastly, I think Nikki Carter said this, I've heard he will flip his popularity into speaking engagements and network media like Rush Limbaugh type. He has the followers. He better hope he doesn't get gripped up in these streets, especially New York, LOL. So those are a couple comments that we have on our Facebook page.
All right, so 215-634-8065. I think prison is in the lead, Kuwesa. What do you think?
Yeah, it's looking pretty good there. I agree. I think that an orange jumpsuit will go perfectly well with his orange hair. Just brings out the flex in his eyes. I think that would work well for him.
Lord have mercy. 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. Of course, we're keeping our eye on Georgia. The recount is going on there. Joe Biden in the lead there by about 14,000 votes. And you've got people like Lindsey Graham, a sitting senator, trying to pressure the Secretary of State of Georgia to fix the election. I need y'all to think about that. You got a sitting senator trying to pressure the Secretary of State of Georgia to fix the election. This is absolutely crazy, man. This is absolutely insane. Open corruption. And this is what happened when these people get reelected. Lindsey Graham just got reelected. He knows he's got 6 years in the Senate, pretty much no matter what, right? And so he can be as crazy as he wants to be, as corrupt as he wants to be, as much of a liar and racist as he wants to be. And that's what he's doing. He don't even represent Georgia. You represent South Carolina, but you in Georgia's business trying to get the Secretary of State to cheat Joe Biden out of the election. That's crazy. And here's the crazier part. Even if Joe Biden doesn't win Georgia, doesn't matter. He's got 306 electoral votes. Y'all can take those 18. Hold those for me, right? And I still win. It's crazy. Like, what are you doing? But this is where we are. Open corruption, open racism, open white supremacy from people like Lindsey Graham. I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. What should Donald Trump do? What should his next job be? after he leaves the White House. Gary from Chester is on line 1. Go ahead, Gary.
Solomon Jones, thanks for taking my call. Solomon Jones, I want to thank you for bringing up the black vote. That, that we're very important. Our vote is important, and we're going to stop letting people downplay it. And thank you for bringing up open corruption, because this is what we're looking at, open corruption. Now, Solomon, I heard he's going to get a job at the Crayola company, but he's only going to be allowed to take care of the orange crayons. Thank you for taking my call, Solomon.
Thank you for your call this morning on WURD. We appreciate you, Gary. Walter from South Philly is on line 2. Go ahead, Walter.
Good morning, Solomon.
Good morning.
Well, when Trump gets out, the warden in Grattis was waiting for him, and Barr and Mitchell and Gali, or whatever his name is, Giuliani, they waiting for him. That's what I feel.
I hear you, Walter, and I want to thank you for your call this morning on WURD. We appreciate it, and that would be deep because Greater is closed, right? So that would be their own private little prison next to Phoenix, the new prison they built to replace it. So that would be interesting. Robert from South Philly is on line 3. Go ahead, Robert.
Good morning, Sal. I just want to tell him for his next job to open them containers and give him a shovel and let him bury them people. Let him fucking cry.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you for your call this morning on WURD. Robert is definitely from South Philly. We appreciate your call this morning on WURD, 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. Kawesa, that's the FCC on the line.
I know.
You grab that. Lord have mercy. We're going to go to break. On the other side, we are going to talk with Dr. Elena McDonald and Dr. Delana Wardlaw about what's going on with coronavirus. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
Hey, WURD family. Our friends at Amoroso's Baking Company are hiring right now. Amoroso's has been baking the delicious bread in our community for over 100 years, and they want you to join their team today. The old and the young love Amoroso's, and they are hiring right now. Check it out. They offer fair pay and provide health, dental, and prescription plans after 90 days employment. Call 856-754-0355 or visit amorososbaking.com for details.
In Pennsylvania, it's now illegal to sell tobacco products, including cigarettes, cigars, chewing tobacco, vapes, or electronic cigarettes to anyone under 21. Stores can get fined up to $1,000 for selling tobacco to someone who is underage. Know the law. Check IDs. Post your retailer license. Make sure only employees have access to tobacco products and only sell tobacco products to customers aged 21 and older. Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
Dietz & Watson has been making premium meats and artisan cheeses for over 80 years. And when it comes to stacking sandwiches and party platters, they've got something for everyone in the family, like maple honey turkey breast, American cheese, buffalo chicken, and more. So get to your local deli and taste 4 generations of family recipes. With Dietz & Watson on the table, you'll have everyone coming back for seconds and thirds. Dietz & Watson, it's a family thing since 1939.
Monday through Thursday, keep it locked to WURD Radio. At 6 a.m., start your day with the Power Hour, hosted by Bishop Dwayne Royster and Reverend Mark Kelly Tyler. At 7, it's Wake Up with WURD with Solomon Jones. At 10 a.m., it's Reality Check with Charles Ellison. Then at 1 p.m., it's The Source, hosted by Andrea Lawful Sanders on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, and the Black Women's Leadership Council on Wednesdays. At 4 p.m., it's Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro. Then at 7, it's Save Space with Sincerely Sarita. At 9 p.m., round up your day with Keeping It Real with the Reverend Al Sharpton. Keep your dial locked to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Streaming live on WURDRadio.com and the WURD Radio app. Or watch live on WURD TV via Facebook and YouTube. WURD Radio. Independent Black Media. Now, a traffic update on WURD Radio.
Good morning. This report sponsored by CVS. Bit of volume out there. Southbound 95 jammed up this morning. Coppin Avenue down through Bridge again. Betsy Ross through Girard. Northbound still not bad. Westbound Vine Expressway. Parkway through the Schuylkill Expressway had a jam there. Westbound Schuylkill heavy University through the Vine Expressway again. Delays City out to Belmont again around the curve to Conshohocken. Eastbound busy Montgomery through Spring Garden. PA Turnpike Blue Ridge 476 still in pretty good shape this morning. 55 northbound. You're at a jam there from Deptford to the 42. CVS pharmacists have a proprietary switch tool that analyzes ways to lower your prescription costs. Come in or call today to get a free prescription savings review at CVS. Savings vary. Not all patients eligible for savings. Ask pharmacists for details. For more traffic information, log on to sigalert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
You're waking up
with Word.
Hosted by Solomon Jones.
Good morning.
Right now on Word Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD. And I want to welcome you back to Wake Up with Word. Joining us now, Dr. Elena McDonald and Dr. Delana Wardlaw. They are both certified, board-certified physicians, and they are twins. And they join us to talk about what's going on with coronavirus. Doctors, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Solomon.
Okay, so this is a very dangerous time with the coronavirus because we are in the fall. It is, of course, spiking now, and we've got over 11 million cases, and there are more restrictions that have been put in place. Dr. McDonald, where are we now as compared to a couple of months ago with this virus?
So what we're seeing now is that the numbers are striking. We're now on the daily average seeing more than 100,000 new cases. We are getting ready to approach 250,000 deaths. We're over 10 million cases in the United States. So our numbers have simply, they're getting worse. And more importantly, the health department has made some decisions to make more restrictions based on the infectivity rate. So the infectivity rate is going up, so we're seeing more and more people get infected more quickly in a shorter period of time, as compared to a couple months ago. So when we took a few steps forward, when we did the shutdown, once we came out and we started to relax, we took some steps backward. So now we have to regroup again, make more adjustments to get us to where we need to be, because right now we're going in the wrong direction.
Mm-hmm. As far as the deaths are concerned, Dr. Wardlaw, a couple of months ago, it looked like the death rate from this thing was going down. Is it starting to climb again?
So, yes, the death rate is starting to climb again. The mortality rate or the death rate is not as high as it was back in March and April. However, it is starting to climb again because it's the number of cases is starting to climb. And to piggyback off what Dr. McDonald said, we've had over 1 million cases in 1 week. We've had 2 million cases since the beginning of November. So these numbers are skyrocketing. So, yes, the deaths are starting to climb up again, although we are not having as many deaths as we were having back in March and April.
Mm-hmm. Now, there is some good news on the horizon. There's a couple of vaccines. Dr. Wardlaw, can you tell us about the one from Moderna? And then, Dr. McDonald, can you tell us about the one from Pfizer?
So the Moderna vaccine, we received information yesterday, and it was done by an independent. It's done by an independent study. It revealed that the vaccine is 94.5% effective, and they did have a large study panel. They had 30,000 people, 15,000 in one group, 15,000 in the other group, and it showed that the people who received the vaccine contract the coronavirus at a significantly less rate. So that's where they come up with that 94.5% effective rate.
Now, it is a 2-dose vaccine given approximately 3 to 4 weeks apart, similar to the Pfizer vaccine. And it's looking to be very promising. You know, the NIH worked along with this vaccine with Dr. Fauci. So it's looking to be very promising. So, again, it's not readily available. It has not been, they have not applied for emergency use as of yet. Looks like the earliest we might be looking at is maybe December. But again, this vaccine or any vaccine is going to be rolled out in stages, and not everybody's going to get it at the same time. And certain groups will be prioritized, and we've talked about this in the past. Some Solomon, whether it be elderly patients over the age of 65, patients with comorbidities, and of course the healthcare workers will probably be prioritized first, and then the rest of the population will get the vaccine maybe by the end of spring, maybe April-ish. So that's what we're looking at. But we have some promising data, so that is good.
Okay, okay. Now, Dr. McDonald, what about the Pfizer vaccine?
So the Pfizer vaccine, Pfizer came out with their information last week, and their vaccine is 90% effective. Again, based on the data from the vaccine, you know, and it, when they did their study, they had over 40,000 participants in the study, and they tried to have diverse backgrounds. And there was 94 cases of confirmed. There were 94 confirmed cases in the participants in the trial. And then the participants in the trial, what they realized was that the majority of the cases of the people who got COVID were the ones who received the placebo. And that's how they determined the effectiveness of the vaccine. Now, the big difference between the Pfizer and the Moderna vaccine, from what we understand right now, is that the Pfizer vaccine has to be stored at extreme temperatures, which will lead to a problem with distribution, because the average doctor's office, which is huge in distributing vaccines, cannot house those vaccines. So that's one of the big limiting issues with the Pfizer vaccine, is because it has to be stored at, you know, negative 100 degrees, you know, Fahrenheit, and most refrigerators don't do that, or standard vaccine refrigerators don't do that. So that's one of the limiting rate factors with the Pfizer vaccine. But as Dr. Wardlaw said, very promising, because we're 8 months into this and our numbers are dismal. So, you know, we're looking forward to getting a safe vaccine. Of course, you know, the data will still continue to be rolled out, but it looks very promising right now.
So, Dr. Wardlaw, one of the things that is of concern is the transition between the Trump administration and the Biden administration. Joe Biden said that there could be more deaths if the transition team does not work with the Trump team in order to figure out the best way to roll out these viruses, because, I mean, these vaccines, because it will put them back, you know, weeks, if not months, in terms of the timing of it. Speak to that from a medical perspective.
Well, I think it's completely unacceptable. So we have to have a smooth transition, because why would we wait until January the 20th to get on top of transitioning the vaccine team when we can do that now? We already know that they are planning to begin to roll the vaccine out in December. And if the entire team is not on the same playbook, not using the same playbook, we cannot be as effective. I think it's completely unacceptable, Solomon. I think that I'm not sure how the government, what they need to do to make sure that this happens smoothly, but it's unacceptable. And we, in medicine, even when you are in the hospital and you are, the day team is transitioning to the night team, there has to be a sign out. There has to be appropriate sign out so that the care can be managed appropriately. This is totally unacceptable, Solomon. I really do hope that the government gets on top of this so we can have an effective transition. When the vaccine comes out, everybody's on the same page, and it can be distributed in a timely manner so that we can go from one phase to the next. Because as we know, not everybody's going to receive it at the same time. That's basic. That's basic good quality care. So we are missing it if this transition doesn't happen smoothly.
And if I could just jump in here, Solomon, the one thing I would have to offer is let's look at the numbers. Let's look at the number of new cases that are popping up daily. And if we're waiting another 60 days, how many lives are going to be lost because we're simply waiting and waiting and waiting because some people don't want to transition accordingly. So we just look at the numbers. It would be devastating if we waited till January to try to get on top of it.
All right. All right. Well, I want to thank you both for joining us this morning on WURD. And I do want to ask you about this because Philadelphia has just put some new restrictions in place. If you guys have had a chance to look at those, Dr. McDonald, I'll start with you. What do you think? What's your medical opinion about these new restrictions?
So, the new restrictions, they're basically trying to limit these mall gatherings as much as possible, and also indoor eating, because we know that, you can't eat with your mask on. So trying to limit the spread. So looking at the numbers, you have to make some adjustments. So I agree. In order for us to really try to slow this until we get a vaccine, we have to do this short of going to another shutdown. So, they talked about they're closing, the restaurants, no more indoor eating. If you eat outdoor, it can only be in families of 4. They're really trying to prevent, groups from different homes coming to congregate at restaurants. Thanksgiving, our typical Thanksgiving, they're asking us to stay away from. So it's, fitness gyms, the casinos, the libraries, the museums, everything is slowly we're starting to go backwards to try to get a hold on this before we go to a complete shutdown. So again, we take 3 steps forward, 5 steps back, we make an adjustment to see if we can start to move forward again.
Yeah. Dr. Wardlaw?
So I agree, and I was elated to see that the Eagles fans are not allowed in the stand, because I think that also is an issue when the fans are allowed to go down and eat and drink, and I think that is an issue as well. So I'm glad that they did that. I understand the sports teams, the universities will have the opportunity to play, but they won't have fans in the stands. And of course, the schools are all virtual in Philadelphia now. So again, we have to try to slow this virus again. I mean, the numbers are skyrocketing. We can't simply keep going on as usual, acting like nothing is going on, like some in the federal government are doing.
That is Dr. Delana Wardlaw and Dr. Elena McDonald. They're both board-certified physicians. Dr. McDonald, where can people find the two of you?
You can find us at Twin Sister Docs on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
All right. Doctors, thanks for joining us this morning. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Solomon.
Thank you, Solomon.
All right, we'll do. We're not going to go to break. We got a couple of minutes. So give us a call, 215-634-8065. On the other side, we're going to be talking with Councilwoman Maria Quinones-Sanchez about a poverty action fund. It's going to be a private-public partnership between the city and the nonprofit community to try to deal with poverty in the city of Philadelphia. It's an intractable problem that really has not been dealt with effectively in the past. We're going to talk about that. But in the meantime, we want to talk to you. I know folks are weighing in on Facebook at onWURD. That's FORWURD, FORWURD, Kawesa. What are they saying this morning on Facebook?
A couple more comments here. Michelle Tulak-Neal, thank you, Docs. Nicole Streets says, how are the restaurants supposed to support themselves? They will go out of business. So that's another comment. Doris Clark is saying, good morning and have a blessed day. Anita Winters Green, good morning. Please wear masks. Take care of each other. And Gloria Gainey says, thank you, twin doctors. We love you. Leandra Middleton, peace and blessings all. And Gloria Gainey is saying good morning to us also. Also, good morning to Ayatunde Garrett and Joey Dixon, jazz to you. Deborah Dorn Carter is saying good morning. I guess she's saying good morning to someone else, saying good morning to Aunt Diana. She said, have a blessed day. So that's another comment that was said also. So those are just a couple of comments. And then Carmen Iris says, takeout, curbside delivery. So yes, exactly. For, those restaurants that might be struggling, that would be the next move, just to, kind of do what was happening earlier during the pandemic, set it up where people can just come and pick up their food and things like that, as opposed to shutting down completely. So that is an option. But yeah, those are the comments that we have.
All right. Well, I think those are good comments. And, you can't risk people's lives, man, to go out and eat. You know what I mean? Like, absolutely curbside, pickup, delivery, whatever you got to do. And, what I'm committed to doing is supporting our restaurants. And figuring out, how to buy some of that food from them. We like to eat, so that works out for us. And just take it home and eat it. You know what I mean? We got to support our businesses so that they can survive this. We're going to go to break. On the other side, we're going to talk with Councilwoman Maria Quinones-Sanchez. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
Just one more step. You got it.
You're doing great. This is the sound of a nationally ranked top rehabilitation hospital, home to the largest collection of robotics in the United States, where we continually exceed patient expectations. Because no injury is too severe or too minor for 24-hour care.
There you go.
This is the sound of success. Moss Rehab. Challenge accepted.
Listen to Laborers Live. We created the weekend. We created the 40-hour work week. We just want enough to feed our family, be able to send our children to college, and let our next generation do better than we did.
To people that might have forgot how important unionism is in the country like the United States. People now infringing on our 8-hour workday, trying to work people more than 8 hours without overtime, trying to work people without benefits. In the long run, everybody's getting a fat paycheck except the worker. So this is really a wake-up call for America.
The struggle is continuous. Tune in to Laborers Live every Friday from 4 to 5 p.m. Sponsored by LESIT, the Laborers Employers Cooperation Education Trust of the Laborers District Council of Philadelphia and vicinity.
Local 332, Sam Staten Jr. Business Manager. Local 57, Esteban Vera Business Manager. Local 135, Dan Woodall Jr. Business Manager. Local 413, James Harper Jr. Business Manager. The Laborers District Council, Ryan Boyer Business Manager, and Tony Staten, Executive Director of LESIT.
Step by Step Home Care Professionals is one of Philadelphia's fastest growing black-owned home care employers, and they are hiring. If you are a caring, nurturing, and compassionate person who enjoys helping people in need, Step by Step Home Care Professionals is looking to hire you. Go to sbshome.care to complete an employment application. That's sbshome.care, or call 610-321-3108 for more information and ask for Monet. Step by Step Home Care Professionals is hiring today.
Jobs, entrepreneurship opportunities, small business resources, and financial literacy. Livelihood. The new initiative from WURD Radio to connect Philadelphians to resources to help take the next steps in their professional lives. WordWorks.com features career readiness tools, entrepreneurship resources, funding opportunities, and events to expand your livelihood. Visit WURDworks.com right now and take the next step in your professional journey. Livelihood is supported by the Nightland Fest's Local News Transformation Fund, Borealis Philanthropies Racial Equity and Journalism Fund, and the Solutions Journalism Network.
Lifting every voice till earth and heaven ring. This is WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia. Black Talk Media. Now, a traffic update on WURD Radio.
Good morning. This report sponsored by CVS. Bit of volume out there. Southbound 95 jammed up this morning. Cottman Avenue down through Bridge again. Betsy Ross through Girard. Northbound still not bad. Westbound Vine Expressway. Parkway through the Schuylkill Expressway had a jam there. Westbound Schuylkill Heavy University through the Vine Expressway again. Delays City out to Belmont. Again around the curve to Conshohocken. Eastbound busy Montgomery through Spring Garden. PA Turnpike Blue Ridge 476. Still in pretty good shape this morning. 55 northbound. You're at a jam there from Deptford to the 42. CVS pharmacists have a proprietary switch tool that analyzes ways to lower your prescription costs. Come in or call today to get a free prescription savings review at CVS. Savings vary. Not all patients eligible for savings. Ask pharmacists for details. For more traffic information, log on to sigalert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
It's Wake Up with WURD, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD, and I want to welcome you back to Wake Up with WURD. And joining us now is Councilwoman Maria Quinones Sanchez. She's in her fourth term representing Eastern North Philadelphia 7th Council District. And she's here to talk about the creation of a nonprofit called the Poverty Action Fund and a $10 million initial grant to fund it. Councilwoman Sanchez, good morning.
Good morning, Solomon. Thank you very much for the opportunity to come talk about it.
So, poverty is a big issue in the city of Philadelphia. We've been talking about this issue for years. In fact, I talked with you about it, 7 years ago, when I was working at Access Philly, and there was an effort to deal with the issue of poverty then. Do you remember that?
Yes, it's been a long time, and I tell you, I started community development work in 1984 in my neighborhood of Hunting Park. So it has been a long conversation, and I think that's what makes this effort a little different, Solomon.
Yeah, well, the first thing that I noticed was that there was some funding. That's the first thing that I noticed. Now, how is this Poverty Action Fund supposed to work, and the $10 million, where does it come from? And where is it supposed to go?
So it's really important to remember, I think 2 years ago, President Clark issued the first report around, how do we narrow this gap between the poverty and particularly deep poverty, and then this we have 400,000 people in poverty. There's 100 that are always teetering on that line, and what can we do to move these people over the line so that then we can reinvest in the other 300,000? And from that, we went to establishing the Committee on Poverty that was co-chaired by Charmaine Matlock-Turner, Eva Gladstein from the administration, and Mel Wells. We spent about 9 months with subject experts, people from all walks of life, talking job training, talking education, and saying, if we could start from scratch, what would we do, right? Like, try to get people to think outside the box, because, as I said, I started this in 84, and some of the strategies really have not evolved. What we found through that process is we were talking about poverty, the Chamber was talking about poverty, United Way was talking about poverty. So once we issued the call to action, it was our way of saying, hey, everybody's talking about it. Let's create a table where we can all work on it, right? Because this is a problem that, while it is government's responsibility to take care of its citizenry, we can't do this alone, right? We can't do it if, minimum wage isn't increased and business doesn't agree to that. We can't move it if we're not leveraging government dollars, and we can't do it if we're not evaluating it. And I think what's going to be different about this poverty fund, the initial deposit is $10 million as a challenge to the private sector to say, match that money. We're going to create a table of the public, private sectors, and we're going to ask them to match us dollar for dollar in a table where we're going to come willing to be evaluated and have a return on our investment when we put dollars there. Solomon, I'll tell you, I know a lot of great people in this space who do poverty work. Some of them don't look like Bing. Some of them, don't live in these communities, don't have the kind of lived experience. I really think we got to go back to basics and working through people who know what they need, right, to improve their quality of life. And I think sometimes government, we overcomplicate stuff, and we're hostile to poor people. What the application processes, all the processes we put poor people through is an example of the fact that we don't understand the challenges that families face day in and day out.
I guess my question is this. So there's $10 million. There's, almost a 25% poverty rate in the city of Philadelphia still. How much of the money goes directly to the people? So I'm a poor person. I need this money. Can I come to this fund and be like, yo, I need this money to pay my rent. I need this money to pay my light bill. I need this money for transportation to a job that I've been offered, but I have no way to get there. How much of it goes directly to the people?
Yeah, the calls to action really did start talking about, some sort of universal basic income. It talked about shallow rent and rent subsidies. So that's where we want to go. One of the first, but one of the first challenges we have is that people aren't getting the benefits they're currently entitled to. It. This has been a challenge for many years. We have great partners in the Campaign for Working Families. But I'll give you an example. There are 65,000 people in the city of Philadelphia who didn't get a stimulus check who are eligible. Why not? Because they didn't file one form to the federal government. That's a perfect example of us leaving money on the table. So one of the things we want to do, because folks, if you're poor and you're going to be in this level for a long time, you need to know what you're eligible for to make your life better as you work through your point, job training, skills development, all the other pieces. And so the goal is, at some point, we're going to pilot all of those things in the individual basic income for folks who are on fixed income. We're never going to move out of that line unless they get additional support. Shallow rent, we've been waiting for PHA for, that list doesn't go down, and we believe there are other ways we can help people stay in their homes through a mixed income process where people can get $200-300 a month in help for rent, right? And let them save some money so that they can then save up and buy their own home. So there are different models in our call to action that the subject experts came up, and what we want to create is the space where that happens. And we want to say to the private sector, we're going to put $1, you put $1, and we're going to invest in these pilots. We're going to measure them, right? Show immediate outcomes so then we can scale them up. Because you know what, Solomon, in this space, everybody is skeptical. Like, oh, we've heard this before. Oh, we've heard this before. And if this doesn't have a strong evaluation component that we're really maximizing income, the impact, to your point, that you're right, we're going to miss it out. And then we can't be creating complicated programs, because ultimately it's about putting money in people's hands so that they can help themselves and help their families.
So has it been decided, I'm trying to drill down to the bottom line, has it been decided how the money is going to be distributed, and if so, how do the people get access to it?
So what we're going to be doing is piloting these innovative programs. We're going to pilot some additional work around building capacity for benefits. We're going to be looking at best practices around what a basic income program looks like, right? If we gave someone a certain amount of money a month, does that move them out of poverty? How long do you transition and support that family so that they become sustaining? How do you support people who may be going to job training? What I'm saying to you is we're building a new table. It's not going to happen overnight. And that's why the benefits piece becomes the most important piece, because tax season is coming around. Philadelphia leaves $400 million in federal money on the table every year, and we need access to that money. Families need access to that money. We talk about the tax credit program. We talk about people who don't file. We talked about stimulus. If we have another stimulus, we need people prepared to accept the money that we're leaving on the table. $400 million in the Philadelphia economy changes things. But then people accessing those resources gives them the ability and the space so that they can then look at, okay, how do I plan to move from one job to another, and what does it take for us to support those folks? So some of the things we were talking about pre-COVID, and I'll be real honest, in this COVID space, we're all trying to pivot and figure out what this looks like. We were looking at, it is cheaper for Philadelphia public schools to have their high school seniors at community college than to have them at the schools. How do we move more kids into this dual admit program that we have? Prior to this, we were looking at, our schools, our public schools, particularly our career technical education schools that have all of this equipment that we have. How do we open up those buildings to the parents of those children so that they can get some skills development, so they can move some jobs? That was all pre-COVID. Post-COVID, now we got to double down and say, okay, this is the new COVID reality for the next 24 months until we get a better handle on this. How do we move some of these agenda items? And unfortunately, it's going to be slower.
Mm-hmm. When will people, I know I keep asking things, when will people have access to the money?
What I would say to you is, in this tax season, you're going to see a more robust program for us to help people get federal access to their dollars, both at the federal and state level. So what I would
their
say
earned income tax credit and stuff like that.
But stimulus, everything. There's so much stuff on the table. I mean, one of the great things about Philadelphia getting this Biden victory is, we're at the SNAP program, Social Security. I mean, there's so many things that people are just not accessing because you know what? They're dealing with everyday challenges. They don't have the time, the energy to do this. And I hope that this federal government will work with our state and local government and cities, and we need to really cut down the bureaucracy and what we do to poor people in order for them to access their benefits. This is people's tax dollars. And sometimes in government, people act like, you're giving people a handout versus a hand up, right? It's their dollars. It's their money. How do we give them their money so that they can improve their quality of life? So I think there's also a mind shift to this. And, the private sector is tired of just giving government money. They say, we just give you money for what? So this really has a dashboard of accountability and return on investment, so that I believe, like you do, ultimately if you give people the money and you give them support, they will make better decisions than government.
Mm-hmm. So initially, it's about helping people access things like the stimulus funds that were given out in connection with coronavirus, the earned income tax credit that's there every year. But when I look at people not getting those things, to me, it goes to education. People don't know how to fill out those forms, don't know where to find them, don't know how to go about doing it, don't know where to get help to do it. Like, you know, people don't know. And, you know, when they get the forms, they don't know how to fill it out anyway. So to me, it goes to education. So how do we deal with that?
Yeah, that is key, and that's what we want to do. For too long, you know, especially over this last decade, you know, I come from a grassroots community-based organization in Hunting Park. For too long, and under the two previous administrations, we've moved away from those empowering those community-based neighborhood NACs and those smaller organizations that people trust. People go to who they trust, right? And we need to go to where they go when they need something, right? And so part of this is building some capacity at every neighborhood level versus asking people, come downtown, go here, go there. We really have to build capacity in neighborhoods for people to do that. You know, it's LIHEAP season, those forms. Why aren't we pre-populating those forms? And I think there's many different things that we can do to help families get there. You're right, there's an illiteracy problem. Some people will not be honest that they don't understand how to fill those forms. But part of this is also government and advocacy to say, why is it that if I apply for LIHEAP every year, I got to fill out the same application every year, Solomon? Why do we make people do that? Why can't we just say, did your income change? No, here. You know, so I think there's processes to this that if we're united on, both from the state level and the federal level, we can streamline these benefits to people. And that's what's been missing. The Benefits Data Trust has been working with the city. The city has made some progress in this area, but it's still $400 million on the table that by April we can access if we're smarter. But part of that is going to where people are. And government is not always where people are. We need to meet people where they are. That means their neighborhood and have that neighborhood capacity.
Okay, so
those jobs, to your point, we want people with lived experience working this, right? Nobody, if you haven't been poor, you don't know what it's like to stand in line, fill out applications, do this, do that. Yeah. We need those folks who work their way through that to be part of that process about, hey, you can do this, we can do this, you're eligible for this. How do we work through this? And I think, again, there's a lot of people in this space that don't necessarily reflect the communities and don't understand what it's like to have to navigate, you know, our complicated bureaucracy.
So what's the timeline then for people to get access to the initial $10 million that's been placed there? What's the timeline to put those frameworks in place?
We want to match that. Our goal is over the next 2 months to get matching corporate partners to that money so that we can build out the framework for people to begin to get these benefits for our work across the city in a more thorough way. But that's not the only pillar that we're going to be working. As I said, you know, some of the things that were discussed in the poverty plan, if you go back to the action plan, you know, we talked about looking at different models for housing, right? You know, there's people talk about smaller homes, you know, some of the smaller home stuff. When we're really talking about, and we've proven it, Philadelphia City Council proved through our Philly First program that if you give people deposits for homes, they will become homeowners. Our Philly First program has become incredibly successful. So how do you scale stuff like that up? How do you scale and improve on some of the home repair programs that we've talked about? How do we give some grants to people as opposed to just loan products? How do you match that, right? So you incentivize people to invest in their properties. So in the call to action, there were a bunch of items that we outlined. We're going to start piling some of those. Some programs already exist, and we're going to scale them up. But to your point, the education piece is going to be the most challenging. We were having very robust conversations with Community College and School District of Philadelphia about the linkage and how do you use, you know, again, schools and community college to enhance skills development, not only for the school district kids, but also for their parents. And again, in the COVID world, that it doesn't mean we don't do it. It means we got to rethink it, how we do it, but we still need to do it. Those are still neighborhood-based institutions that need to play a role in helping move folks out of poverty and attain some of those skills that we need for the new economy. You look at this Hillco project in Southwest Philadelphia, 30,000 jobs, all paying 15 and above in the new logistics world. We want to make sure, and there's already initial discussions around that. We want to make sure people are getting prepared for those jobs as that gets filled out. So there's a lot of opportunities, but it's matching people to those skills. But you got to meet people don't trust. And, for me, working with the Black Doctors Consortium was really illuminating how people mistrust government when we went out into neighborhoods and folks were really hesitant about, do I get tested? Do I do the flu shot? Are you going to give me the virus? To me, sometimes we're working in this cocoon and we think we know what's going on. We really don't know what's going on.
So there's no timeline then for when this is going to be up and running?
No, we will have the first initial phase of this in the tax season starting January 31st. The new tax season opens up. So that will be the first push so that by April 15th or whatever the deadline ends up being given this COVID situation, we are maximizing people's filing opportunities.
So that's about the money that's already on the table. I'm talking about the new money. When is there a timeline for when that's going to be up and running?
Traditionally, we're partnering with United Way as one of our partners, so we're going to be able to get stuff up and going. Normally, it takes about 6 months for you to set up a full-fledged nonprofit. Our hope is that in our next budget cycle, you're going to see the most significant investment in some of these other programs that we're talking, so that they can get matched by the private sector. So, come budget season for council in March, you're going to see us identifying and prioritizing and challenging, I said, because all of this is a challenge. It's a one-for-one. We want to put government money on the table, but we also want the private sector giving in, and you're going to see some significant improvements. This first $10 million is the first challenge. I think we're going to get there before the beginning of the year.
So initially, it's pointing people towards stuff that's already on the table, and then you're looking at a 6-month timeline for setting up this framework for distributing this new money.
Yes.
Okay.
And this is only a deposit. This is not the kind of investment we need. Pre-COVID, we had a $400 million government surplus, and we were looking at a $100 million plan, right? But it doesn't mean that that's still not as urgent as necessary. But we're just going to have to be smarter about it.
All right. Well, where can people find the outline for this program? I know there's a plan that's put together. Is it somewhere available online?
Yes. Right now, our action plan is on the City of Philadelphia website under City Council, which was our call to action. There, it outlines all of the priority areas that are going to be supported. We will now be establishing this new board, and we expect that over the next couple of weeks, you'll see the first 100-day plan. It'll be the first 100 days outline, showing you specifically where we're working towards. There will be a website set up for it. Chicago, other cities who've done this, it has to be very public. It has to be very transparent. People have to be able to touch it, see it, feel it, and hopefully feel the impact of the work that's being done. And that's part of the work we're going to do. That public dashboard about what we're doing with your money has to be very transparent.
Sounds good. All right. That's Councilwoman Maria Quinonez Sanchez. I want to thank you so much for joining us this morning on WURD.
Thank you always for the opportunity, and thank you for all the work you do. Had the opportunity to participate a little bit with Man Up and some of your other stuff, and it's really good, and I appreciate, your commitment, right, to this growth. And look, this poverty fund is not going to be the end-all to everything, but it's the first time government significantly invests and says, we can't do this by ourselves, but we also have to be held accountable to some strategy that people can see, feel, and have some input over.
All right. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate that. That's Councilwoman Maria Quinonez Sanchez. We're going to go to break. On the other side, we're going to continue the show right here on WURD.
Man, this coronavirus has us all moving differently.
No doubt. Like washing our hands more and social distancing with the crew. I'm always telling people to give me 6 feet. We're here, Grandmom.
There's my babies. Good to see you got your mask on.
Wear mask. Stop the spread. For more information, visit www.pa.gov/COVID.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
Need a new mattress? Stop by to see Julian, the mattress man, located at 7421 Stenton Avenue. You deal directly with the owner, Julian, to ensure the best prices on name brand mattresses like Sealy, Posturepedic. Call 215-424-5550. That's 215-424-5550.
Family Therapy Vignette Moments with Dr. Lucille Ijoy. It's never too early to talk about registration and voting. Listen to this rap about registration and voting. It's called A Two-Step by Dr. Lucille W. Ijoy and Bill D. Jolly.
Listen to Grandmama and take this special note. Step 1 is registration. Step 2, go out and vote. It's called a two-step. It's called a two-step. Yeah, the two-step. It's called a two-step. Calling all citizens, don't you delay. It's time to do the two-step and do it right away. You say you want to have, you say you want to change. Well, get up off your duck, you have the power to arrange. Two-step, it's called the two-step. Yeah, the two-step, it's called the two-step. Listen to Grandmama and take this special note. Step 1 is registration. Step 2, go out and vote. It's called a two-step. It's called a two-step. Yeah.
Now, a traffic update on WURD Radio.
Good morning. This report sponsored by CVS. Blue Route 476 southbound pretty jammed approaching Route 1 down to Media Swarthmore. An accident there off to the shoulder. Northbound McDade up to Media Swarthmore. Busy. Schuylkill Expressway eastbound busy. Blue Route to Belmont. Montgomery to Spring Garden. Westbound jam. University through the Vine. Again from Belmont out through Conshohocken. Southbound 95. That jams Cotman through Bridge. Again Betsy Ross through Girard. 55. That's a heavy ride still northbound from Deptford into 42. CVS pharmacists have a proprietary search tool that analyzes ways to help lower your prescription costs. Come in or call today to get a free prescription savings review at CVS. Savings vary. Not all patients eligible for savings. Ask pharmacists for details. For more traffic information, log on to sigalert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
It's Wake Up with WURD, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on WURD Radio. 96.1 FM. And 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on